Beginning. The man behind the filter. My name is Kael Riven, former ranger of the Helion frontier, current ghost. For 3 years, I lived behind a mask, not a helmet, not a visor, but a full reactive face shield that disguised me as someone else entirely. To the galaxy, I was dead. To the woman I once loved, I was worse than dead. I was the man who abandoned her. But the truth was far uglier. I never left her. I was taken. 3 years earlier, during a border patrol mission near the Ion Rift, my squad was ambushed by the Phage. They didn't kill me. They infected me, rewrote my neural lattice, and forced me into service as a masked operative called Spectre 7. The mask wasn't to hide my identity. It was to hide their control. But I broke free. Barely. The Phage still hunted me. The Helion government wanted me contained. And I had only one place left to go, the last place they would expect. The remote colony of Hespera 4. The home of Lira Vale. The woman who once promised she'd wait for me. And the woman who believed I was gone forever. Chapter 1. Return to the world of the living. Hespera 4 hadn't changed. The sunlight still cast long amber lines across the crystalline fields. The air still carried the scent of iron and wet stone after rainfall. And the colony, the quiet cluster of silver-domed structures, still hummed with gentle life. But I felt like a ghost walking through a memory. My mask was still active, hiding my real face behind a generic colonial worker's features. I kept my head low, moving through the morning crowds toward the archive tower. Lira worked there once, if the old directories were correct. I stepped inside the tower's grand atrium, heart pounding. Would she still be here? After all this time? A receptionist drone floated toward me, projecting a holographic listing. State your inquiry. My throat tightened. Lira Vale, I said. Is she still on Hespera 4? The drone blinked. Then, confirmed. Research wing, level 3. She was here. Alive. Real. My knees almost gave out. After everything I'd survived, the Phage, the battles, the mind control, this simple confirmation nearly shattered me. I took the lift to level 3, walked the corridor, stopped outside her lab. Through the glass, I saw her. Lira Vale, her dark hair tied back, her hands steady as she inspected a glowing crystal sample. Her expression calm, but older, more tired, more hardened. She looked exactly like the last memory I had of her, and nothing like it at the same time. I raised my hand to the door pad and froze. This wasn't a reunion. Not yet. If the Phage found out she knew I was alive, they would use her against me. If Helion forces detected my biosignature, she would be taken in for questioning. I had no right to walk in. Not like this. But fate didn't wait for my decision. The lab door slid open, and Lira stepped out, colliding with me. She dropped her data pad. I caught it on reflex. Sorry, she said softly. Didn't mean to. Then she looked up. Her eyes searched my masked face. Something flickered there. Recognition? Memory? Pain? Impossible. The mask should have disguised everything. But she stared anyway. Do I know you? She whispered. I opened my mouth. No words came. She shook her head, flustered. I'm sorry. That was strange. You felt familiar for a second. She reached for her datapad in my hands. Our fingers brushed. She froze. I froze. Her breath hitched, barely audible, but real. A spark shot through my nerves. She felt it too. She stared into my false face, whispering, Who are you? I forced myself to step back. Nobody, I said, and turned away. But her voice followed me. Why does it feel like I've lost you before? The words hit me like a blade. I had to get out. Before she saw too much. Before she remembered. Before the mask failed entirely. Chapter 2. The past will not stay buried. That night, I hid in a derelict maintenance dome outside the colony boundary. I shouldn't have gone to her lab. Shouldn't have risked contact. The phage could track emotional spikes. Helion tech had passive bioscans. But my heart had led me straight into danger, for her. As I sat on the cold metal floor, my calm implant crackled. A distorted voice crawled through the static. Spectre 7.
No, not them. Not now.
Your neural residue persists, the voice hissed. Return to us. Rejoin the Hive. You belong with the collective. I crushed the comm chip with my fist, sparks flying. But the message lingered in my skull like poison. I couldn't stay here long. The phage would come. But I needed one thing before I fled again. Lira's safety. If the phage targeted her because of me, I couldn't live with that. I pulled up her colony file. Everything looked normal. Until security alert. Unauthorized access. Location: Research Wing, Lab 3. Time: 22:14. That was her lab. And that was now. Someone was inside. I bolted toward the colony. Chapter 3. The Unexpected Reunion. When I reached the lab, the lights were shattered. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Slashes marked the walls, the unmistakable claw marks of a phage infiltrator. And Lira was trembling behind a console, holding a plasma cutter like a weapon. She gasped when she saw me, still masked. You, she whispered. Why are you? A growl echoed behind her. Down, I shouted. She ducked. I fired. A phage drone lunged from the shadows. Long limbs, needle-like tendrils, organic tech fused to bone. The creature screeched as my pulse shot tore through its thorax. We both backed away as it collapsed, twitching. Lira stared at me, panting, terrified. You knew, she whispered. You knew something like this was coming. That thing, it wasn't human. No, I said quietly. It wasn't. She looked at the corpse, then at me. Why are they after you? Her voice broke. And why do you feel like someone I lost? She stepped closer, eyes sharp, searching. I couldn't lie anymore. My hands shook as I reached up to my mask. Don't, she whispered. If you're someone dangerous, I am, I said. But not to you. The mask hissed, detached, lowered. Her breath caught. Her hands flew to her mouth. Her knees buckled. Kael, she whispered. I hadn't heard my name spoken by her voice in 3 years. A tear slipped down her cheek. You died, she trembled. They told us you died in the rift. I mourned you. Kael, I buried you. I know, I said softly. She slapped me. Not hard. Not to hurt. Just enough to break 3 years of grief. How could you? Her voice cracked. How could you leave me like that? I didn't. I stepped closer. I was taken. And then, quietly, and I never stopped trying to come back. She collapsed against me, sobbing into my chest. I held her, and for the first time since the phage took me, I felt alive again. But the moment couldn't last. The lab's lights flickered red. A warning blared. Multiple hostiles approaching. Phage signatures detected. Lira stiffened. I grabbed her shoulders. They're here for me, but they'll take you too if we stay. She wiped her tears, breathing hard. What do we do? We run. Chapter 4. The escape. The colony plunged into lockdown. Metal shutters slammed down. Siren lights strobed through the halls. Colonists ran screaming as phage infiltrators crawled through vents and tore through security drones. I grabbed Lyra's hand. Stay close. Don't let go. She nodded, eyes fierce. We sprinted through the corridors. I blasted a path through the maintenance sector, heading toward the old shuttle pads. But Lira tugged my arm. Not that way, they'll predict it. She pointed toward the lower tunnels. Nobody uses the geothermal conduits anymore. They're off-grid.
Smart.
Still as brilliant as ever. We slid into the tunnel system just as Phage claws slashed down behind us. The conduits were dark, narrow, and boiling with heat from the planet's core. Sweat dripped down our faces as we moved. Lira finally asked, Kael, what did they do to you? I swallowed hard. They made me a weapon.
Controlled me with the mask.
Turned me into their specter. She stopped walking. You were alive all this time, but not yourself? Not until a week ago, I confessed. I broke free, but they'll never stop hunting me. She stepped close. Then we fight together. I shook my head.
No.
I won't drag you into this. She grabbed my collar, eyes blazing. You idiot. You already did. Before I could reply, a roar shook the tunnel. The Phage had found us. Chapter 5. The last stand. We burst out of the conduits into an abandoned geothermal chamber. Pipes hissed steam. Huge turbines groaned. Metal platforms hung over a molten river. A perfect battleground. I pulled Lira behind a console. They'll come from the vents. When they do, run, she glared. I'm not leaving you. I opened my mouth. The vents exploded. 3 Phage drones crawled out, their tendrils dripping black fluid. I fired. The room lit up with plasma bursts. Lira activated the emergency turbines, whipping the room into a cyclone of heat and steam. The Phage staggered, disoriented. 1 down, 2 left. I shouted. We fought back to back. One lunged at Lira. I tackled her out of the way. Another pinned me. She stabbed it with a superheated probe. The last one roared and charged. I grabbed Lira and leapt off the platform. We fell 10 meters, hit a maintenance rail, slid to the lower level. The Phage followed. It cornered us at the edge of the molten river. Its tendrils wrapped around my throat. Lira screamed. I looked at her. I came back for you. And I'm not leaving you again. I grabbed the Phage with both arms and hurled us both into the molten core. Its screech echoed through the chamber. Heat swallowed everything. Pain, light, silence. Ending. She never expected to see me again. I opened my eyes. White ceiling. Medical equipment.
Cool air.
I was alive.
Somehow.
Lira sat beside me, her head on my arm, asleep from exhaustion. When she realized I was awake, she nearly crushed me in a hug. You idiot, she whispered, laughing and crying at once. You can't die twice. I won't let you. I smiled weakly. What happened? You fell into the core, she said. But your body, Kael, it didn't burn. I froze.
What? She pulled up a scan.
The Phage infection, the nano-organic residue, had fused with my cells. But instead of controlling me, it had protected me, made me immune to the heat, made me stronger, made me something more. Lira touched my cheek gently. You're not the man you were. I swallowed. Does that scare you? She shook her head. It just means you came back different. She smiled softly. But you came back. Tears filled my eyes. I thought I'd lost you forever, I whispered. She squeezed my hand. You did. Her voice trembled. But then you took off your mask. I laughed quietly. She leaned her forehead against mine. Kael, don't ever hide from me again. I won't. Promise. On every star in the sky. Outside the medical dome, the sun rose over Hespera, lighting the world in gold. For the first time in 3 years, I wasn't Spectre 7. I wasn't a ghost. I wasn't a weapon. I was Kael Riven. And I was home. Beside her. Where I always belonged.